Hello, good evening, greetings and salutations. I hope everything's going your way. How the hell are you doing today? Guys. So I was checking out YouTube on this addicting thing we call a smartphone. And like most men, YouTube's algorithm finds out you're a man, and it doesn't matter if you're watching spiritual videos, if you're watching preachers preach, if you're watching sorcerers do sorcery on YouTube. It does not matter. If you're looking at astrology videos, it does not matter if you're looking at car repair videos. Eventually, for some reason, the algorithm is going to try to sneak things in that it has figured out are highly emotional things towards that demographic or group of people that it's pushing it at. And if you're a man, like most men, eventually you're going to bear witness to this spectacle called the manosphere. And what is that? It's a very broad range of people and characters that are men. And they're pro-men and this and that and that and this. Well, a lot of men, and probably younger men, if we're honest here, probably teenagers, you start seeing these videos. And look, I'm going to tell you something, guys. The mind is this incredible mental faculty, internal faculty that man, woman, animals, but people specifically have. Funny thing is, the mind doesn't actually need to see something firsthand to believe it. The mind, which is not your brain, but your mind and your brain work together. They don't actually need to experience something firsthand to believe something firsthand. You know what I mean? And so what does that mean? Well, a lot of young men, all the way up to older men, to senior citizen tier men, are seeing these manosphere videos. And listen, everybody's got the right to believe whatever they want. But you got also you've got a internal faculty called intellect, and logic and reasoning is all in that. And you really should, before you buy in fully to anything, is look into it yourself. Don't turn this screen on and spend hours in front of it watching crap all day, and in between on your breaks at work or on the bus or on a train or listening to podcasts driving down the road or on airplanes. Don't buy into it just because there's so many voices saying the same thing and showing you the same thing. Go outside of the phone and experience it firsthand before you believe what people are telling you. You know, things we don't even realize that get stored in here and clutter our minds to such a great degree do. And so I'm listening to this, and I'm just listening to this guy talk about men's problems never get solved, and if it was a woman having the same problem, the whole world would come to a screeching halt to solve her slightest inconveniences. I want to tell you firsthand, that's not so. All right? People believe it because their mental world has been built up of everything they're observing through these smartphones these days, right? So it's believable to people like that. It's like discernment, guys. I know plenty of women who have it bad off. You listen to some of these folks in that group of people, like they make it sound like women just are awful and everything and not good at anything. That's not true either. That's obviously not true. Listen, I'm going to tell you something else too, because I'm fair and balanced here. We're not propagandists. Bad behavior exists everywhere and in everyone to different degrees. Bad behavior is bad behavior across the board. All right. Now, what constitutes good and bad behavior becomes a philosophical discussion. But they're talking about this and that and this and this. And if you go into the manosphere, they do it every other group who start out, I'm advocating for everyone that is supposed to fall in my group and spectrum. They start subdividing the group because certain people in their group that have met their criteria to be in there, just, a man is welcome. All of a sudden, they start to realize not all men are the same in their case. So they subdivide. They say things like, men created cures for cancer and algorithms that could cure radical diseases, but they don't say the next part that they should, but only if you can afford it. And there's some men who broke as a joke, right? They ain't about to afford all that high-tech shit. And they'll say, well, you should have followed our doctrine and our dogma, and you've been a top value man like us, and you could. Well, you just didn't do right, so it doesn't count for you. That's real. That's real great when you say I advocate for men across the board. But it's like that Animal Farm thing, right? That the rule on the farm after they chase the farmer off. The first dogmatic commandment of Animal Farm was all animals are equal. And it devolved into the pigs saying, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And if you disagree with me, I can kill you. Look, I wanted to say something interesting that I observed. You know, a lot of men, I imagine, because for a long time, men in the manosphere were on hardcore, we gonna fight women. I hate women. I am in direct opposition of women. They've done got away with it long enough. It's time to get them. And they would say that our lives do not revolve around women, but their content for years, time you turn it on to the time you turn it off, it was about how bad women are. And I'm sure, listen to me, I'm sure there's the equivalent of some fringe woman demographic that does the equal, okay? It's always a counter and a balance, right? But I'm talking about the manosphere right now because I don't personally watch like content like that. This got suggested to me, and so I'm talking about what I witnessed and what I've observed, and it got recommended all throughout the years. So I've seen it off and on. That's how I know these things. Because it didn't matter what I was watching. I was watching Dragon Ball Z clips. I was watching car repair videos, car repair theory, all kinds of things. And all of a sudden, here it comes. It's like the algorithm would start slipping it in. And it's so funny because for a long time, places like YouTube and social media, they ran a heavy, hardcore censorship on what they decided that they had the knowledge of good and evil and what was good and bad and right and wrong. To be fair, I have noticed they are easing up on that a little bit, but whatever. So, I wanted to say something I think is fascinating and something I think, and I've observed most of the time, it's like there's a natural imperative, all right? For it's like there's a natural imperative for human beings to find partners. And for most of the case, most of the human race is wired for man want woman, and woman wants man. I respect that there are people out there who diverge from this, of course. You do you. All right. This is America. You believe what you want. You say what you want. I'll stand right there and I will fight right there with you over that right. But I have to also convey a point. A lot of men, a lot of younger men all across the spectrum. It's funny because when they're younger men, they haven't quite been jaded, right? For the most part, they haven't quite been sullied and knocked off the balance. And when they get older, the reason they're listening to that is because they did get jaded, right? And they want an answer. Some part of them wants to understand so it can resolve and they can move on with their life. They don't realize this though, so they tune in. It becomes addictive. It's like eating damn Oreos, right? Yeah, I cannot eat any of that. I will eat the whole thing. It says serving size is 2 cookies, not to Kurt's house. Them Oreos come in here. The serving size is like 40 cookies. All right, so I want to say that human beings have these certain things that seems to be inherently wired inside of us. We have like threat detection, and we have the desire to neutralize the threat, right? And the funny thing is, it doesn't always have to be a violent threat. Humans perceive things like rejection as a threat. Anything that results in pain, or what your brain would process as pain, the threat detection stuff is wired to. It's really strange. The whole nature of existence really is strange. Something in here is conscious enough to understand situations and what relevance and what they mean and where they go, enough to be able to do it automatically, like your nervous system. Everything in here is alive, and it's like it has its own mind and its own consciousness, right? Or forms of it, at least, enough to be able to make decisions, to start sending you emotional shocks to you and everything, right? And alerts. It has to be intelligent to do that. Your awareness, you certainly are not actually actively like talking to it. It kind of just starts to go, yeah, and you see people flip out. It's because that part. See that person at McDonald's are yelling at the cashier about there's pickles on his hamburger. They're panicked. They're angry. They're yelling at the cashier over pickles on a hamburger. That ain't got a damn thing to do with pickles on a hamburger, man. Something inside of their amygdala has started triggering them to lash out. And they're unaware of it. The nature of existence is completely insane. So as I'm sitting here looking at this and listening to this on the manospheres, people, I start to like think that like younger men and men in like their 20s that aren't quite younger men anymore, and in their 30s and whatnot, probably that becomes a different reason they're watching the content. Probably they probably come about this stuff because they want knowledge on how to attract the women, right? They don't want to come and hear about women bad, women do this, women do that, the politics of this, the sexual battle, right? The battle of the sexes. They don't want to do that. They probably want to go find out, how do I attract a woman? What do I wear? How do I act? What am I into? How can I understand women? That's probably how a lot of them end up there. And before you know it, the people are talking about slightly other things that interest them, right? And so, welcome to human existence. And so, and so, before you know it, it's like the manosphere people, they get the interest of the men, and they're not, they're teasing, they're telling them, go work out, go do this, go do that, go be successful, focus on only you, and then you'll have all the women. But the average man who gets pulled into that, oh, they want a wife, they want a family, they don't want to last. Well, you ask the manosphere people, they go, well, the court system will mess with you. They'll destroy you if your spouse decides they want a divorce. That's what they will allege and they will say. And they have evidence of that, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to tell you that most of these people who get pulled into this kind of content, they might have heard through the grapevine, women are going to do these things to you if you settle down, because there's always people that do that whisper in your ear. And then you go to actually look at it and you see thousands and thousands of videos and millions of hours of content pertaining to backing it up. You'll start to develop a bias, right? That pretty soon you don't even want to give it a chance. You know, bad behavior is bad behavior regardless of the sex that is doing it, regardless of any of the genders that do it, regardless of whatever. Bad behavior, mistreating people, being unkind and unfair to people, well, that's true across the board, no matter who's doing it. And it seems to be we all have that part of us that we want an answer. Some part of us wants to resolve something, and the answer doesn't have to be accurate to satisfy that criteria. It just has to be believable. So that part, I found out who wants to do it, and then before you know it, you're watching all this content, just like the Oreos, just like the potato chips. You can't just eat one. And so a lot of people get pulled into that. A lot of young men, especially, get pulled into that manosphere content because they want to know how to have a normal life. You know, what's considered nuclear family was considered normal for a long time. Normal is everything is flows, right? Everything is elastic and flexible and moving. Everything changes in this place. Nothing's sitting still. You know, a lot of people that are trying to, you know, if nothing sits still, think about this. Even that ideal life. People used to glamorize the 1950s. Did you know that America existed for like 100, 200 or more years before the 1950s? That was not the normal of America. Yet they found a sweet point, and they were propagandized. They were showing all this content, all this TV shows, all these articles, all these books talked about how that was the pinnacle of America. But it probably wasn't that great if you were there. It probably wasn't that great if you were there. And so people held on to the belief, we got to go to the 1950s. We got to make it more like that. You're not going back there. What was the average life? It was easier for working people. I could say that. People, you know, nowadays, truth be told, it's like, if everybody just kept doing that, guys, how long is that supposed to go on for before you say, this is the most boring thing, life? Life is the most boring thing. It has no spice to it. It has no adventure to it. It has no mystery. I wake up at 6 a.m. I go to the job for 8 to 10 hours, maybe more. Then I come home. I eat dinner. Occasionally, I have sex with my spouse. I get freaky in the dark. And then I get the weekends off, maybe. And then I go. And then that was life. Guys, you are not a machine meant to do the same thing over and over again like that. The same force that makes everything in this universe and this world, by extension, of course, wants to move. It wants to experience. It wants to dream. It wants to build dreams. It wants to play this role one day. Then the next day it wants to do this role. One day it wants to be an office worker. Then it wants to be God. Then one day it's a mechanic. Then one day it's a construction worker. Then one day it's gardening. Then one day it's playing a video game. Then one day it's holding a phone for hours. and hours. Staring at people talk. Contemplating, why am I contributing to the problem? But I digress. A lot of young men come there. They want that American dream they were heard about in school, maybe in a history class, maybe from their parents, maybe somewhere. They want that, and they know it involved them and a spouse. Hi, honey. Hi, Wheaties box lady. That's let me tell you what, serving size on here will tell you like 21 biscuits, about eight bowls per container. Not at Kurt's house. One box is one serving at Kurt's house. and so, this woman's the devil. Here, don't buy this. This woman's the devil. Oh my God, I'm gonna get censored. She said, eat my Wheaties. My name! Get off the screen, Hitler. You're not welcome. We don't do that. We don't do that with this. Oh my God. Hold on, I gotta turn the box. Hold on. There. Okay, there now. It's normal. We got no front buy. I can't look at that. Madam Hitler's judging me. So you're not the ideal specimen. You eat too many Oreos. My name. Most men go there. They want a wife. They want to find out, how can I get a wife? How can I have a successful relationship with that wife? How can I do such a thing? I've got to fix this camera, my God. Oh God, I'm messing the show up. There, okay, we're just going to have to deal. There, perfect, cool. To the chamber with you, phone! That's awful. So, let's be all these crystals and all this sugar. We're about to channel ourselves into the 1940s time travel. And so, but to bring it back, enough screwing around. Most men watching that, they want to know why the relationship fell apart they had. They don't understand. They don't understand why everything didn't work out. But I'm talking to someone else right now. Talking to another group. I want to draw a third eye on my head with this. But God, nobody's gonna take this seriously. I don't care. Life's too serious, and no one likes taking that. All right, so the majority of men watching the manosphere people, they find themselves in those circles and places because they just want to have a normal little life. Normal life to them is like husband and wife, basically. How can I get a wife that will stay with me and I can invest and build a future with? And so they go looking at these guys who are the only ones talking about man content, and to them, before they become initiated in the religion of man there, they think these guys are going to teach them the normal thing, but these guys are going to transform them into something else. They're going to start teaching them about work out nonstop, do this, do that, do this and that, and this and that, and not that some of that isn't good practical advice, but the problem with it is it's coming with dogma. and a doctrine. Dogma and doctrine says women have cooties in the manosphere. Stay away from women. And if you do go near them, they're just for one night stands. You get a whole notebook full of them, and then you complain that they're having all this casual sex, but you're having it too. But we're not talking about your behavior. We're trying to hold them accountable. Everything is the woman's fault. You idiots. You idiots. Not everything is a woman's fault if you want to get technical, because they like to talk about the legalistic and the laws involved in what empowered women to do these things. Well, men passed those laws. So, I mean, like, you, a lot of them are grifters. And the people they're trying to latch onto and extract resources from are men. So you can't ever point out that men make mistakes. It's like some weird psychological warfare that's meant for more like the Soviet Union or something, right? It's like it's a religion. It's really a religion. They have beliefs, they have dogmas, they have doctrines. And so what I'm getting at is most men end up there because they want to find out how the most important thing that comes naturally to them. How can I get a woman to build a stable relationship with? All right? To build a family with, to build a life with. Well, this world is very fallen, my friend. It's a very imperfect place. I've got to plug my phone up. My ranting and kvetching has gone on for many, many moons here. Let me make sure we're plugged in. All right, we're plugged in. So it's a very hard thing to find someone like that. What I'm here to say is don't develop a distaste for women like that, where you have a bias against any people that meet a certain criteria that you may put into a group or a classification, or not you, but your mind more specifically. You know, there are room for improvements in many things. There are. But what I'm telling you is that beware when you step into circles, because circles are like societies. And societies are a lot like cults and religions. They have rules and doctrines and dogmas and what's societally acceptable and culturally okay. It's a big thing, guys, because when you burn all this stuff down in the fire and you get to the essence of every bit of it, it's all the same thing. It's metaphysical. It's thoughts by nature. It's ideas and concepts. What is a nation but what is believed to be? You can't have no nation if you got no believers. You call believers in a nation citizens. You can't have no, you really can't even have, look, you have all these like 4 systems of control that in themselves get boiled down to nothing but ideas and concepts and thoughts. You see all this, there's a drug war, for instance, just for a second. People wanted to smoke weed. They wanted to smoke marijuana before it became, and they used to get thrown in jail for just having it. They weren't even the dealer. And it was the belief of all states in this country at one point that marijuana was the devil's lettuce. It was the most evil and heinous thing you could get your hands on. And so much so they came up with a bunch of doctrines themselves and dogmas and beliefs pertaining to it. Propaganda is like beliefs. It's convincing somebody. It's like marketing for an idea in this way. It's marketing for a belief system or a belief. And for a long time, people were buying into it. They believed it. And then the belief started to shatter. Well, between that point and this point, as it continuously shatters, because you can't prop up a false belief or a lie or anything like that for long. Human beings see 80 to 100 years as a long time. Because you probably die by that point. You can't see beyond that point in this life. So it might as well be a long time to you. But people eventually start to unravel it and change some things, right? We've seen a lot of changes in this world. With concerning beliefs and everything else. We see it all the time, every day. What is believed to be this way is believed to not be that way the next, and a new belief takes its place until another belief can push that one on out of the way. You have people who kind of wrestle over whose belief is right, who's wrong. But what I want to say is that, and one of the systems of control is that if you can go over and threaten to throw someone in a cage to go along with what you want, which is why censorship is completely wrong. Because if you start censorship, you're going to start bending people's arms to what they can think and believe. Well, pretty soon you're getting all these people go along with some really crazy things. And if you think most people on this earth will not turn around and go with literally insane things, you're one of the few ones that can see how ridiculous something is. All right? Because there are many crowds and masses that cannot see how ridiculous something is. They will go along with it, and even further still. There are people who can see how absolutely untrue something is and ridiculous it is, and they will still go along with it. It's crazy. Start bending your arms. Here, you get in this jail cell if you don't go along with what we said. Get in this jail cell. Oh, you believe houses are supposed to be reasonably priced? You believe we're supposed to have reasonably priced food and fuel prices and car prices and all that other stuff? Well, we don't believe that. And we have the resources and the power to impose our belief that you should, in fact, have to work like a slave to have anything in this world. That you should absolutely have to struggle and climb and scrape by. And we also believe that we should get cheaper labor, so we're going to make machines do it. So good luck, because our belief is that your comfort and your life is none of our business. Give us more tax breaks. It's funny how the little people, we don't ever get an actual way. The masses, the unwashed masses, how we don't actually get a way where we can turn and say, well, your tax burden is your problem. And turn their tax breaks off. It's funny. It is because it's a power dynamic. And it only gets broke if people run for office. It only gets broke if people take political power seats away. It only changes if you change it. So, God, yeah. And so people find themselves in the manosphere. They come there looking for answers. Pretty soon they've been indoctrinated. They've been initiated in the manosphere-like religion. And they start to have beliefs and views. They start to do this and that and this. And those people, they just wanted to know, how do I have a stable life? How do I accomplish this goal that has been taught to me? The goal itself is a belief. Spoiler alert. It's all a belief. Well, I'm going to tell you something. This world is very imperfect. All right? Like most of these people, they didn't want to go running around having all this casual sex and hookups and everything. I got to get to the gym. I got to go get this career so that I can get the most women naked in my lifetime. Most of them got molded and transformed into that. They got guided into being like that, right? I wish, and so, I think all people, men and women, they should stop imposing expectations on each other. Like, it's like this. Look, love is very simple. Love is very, very simple. The mind does what the mind does to lots of things. It complicates it. It obsesses over it. Listen to me. Love is very, very easy. It's very easy. If you love someone, love them. If you stop loving them because you're seeing how they behave, how they talk, how they are, you don't love them. You loved what you thought they were. And that wasn't real. It's a thought. You started getting resentful and angry and aggravated at the person that you just saying, I love you 10 minutes ago. It seems 10 minutes ago. And then you start to get resentful and aggressive and angry because they're not living up to the image, to the thought that you have of them. And before you come to that realization to say, I need to either get rid of the thought or end this relationship and get on with my life, people find themselves in this weird way where they think to live. They think to be in the relationship. The relationship is, I think the relationship is, therefore it is. I think the person is, therefore they are. And that's not always true, okay? There is a magic power in how we think about ourselves and the world around us and the view we have of it. It does change everything. The funny thing is, you've got other things in this world that can shatter that worldview. And the power is not all in the thought. Power is not all in the thought. What we call truth. It's not objective, nor is it subjective. The truth to each one of us is what we believe it is, because we'll experience it like that, and we'd say that's the truth, and we would swear it's the truth, and we may even want to get in a fight over it because we believe that that is the truth that we would be arguing over. Because we experience it the same way. It doesn't matter. Nature of truth is not objective. Truth is not objective. Truth is not subjective. But what we believe it to be. Because the one thing we can say is definitively real is how we experience something. Because therein lies the feelings and everything else. And they're all inside of us. They're all tied into our beliefs, because from our beliefs spring our worldview and our perspective. And how we will feel about something, when a feeling is triggered, when a memory is triggered, how we will feel about that and experience it. They were around, just become rich, just do this, just go to the gym all the time, just build these businesses, just do this and that, do this and this. Why? Why? You're going to put all that effort into doing that. It's like becomes a distraction. When do you just sit down and be? When does that occur? When do you just sit down and breathe? You want to get you stressed? If you're running around in the manosphere, let me offer a piece of advice. You want to find peace inside? Put the manosphere down. Let it pass out of you. Fast from it. Essentially detox from it. And just sit and breathe. And I promise you'll stop suffering whatever is inside of you by doing that a lot quicker than you will by following that long rabbit hole. Because a part of you keeps you driving. It's a desire all of us humans have curiosity. Why are they like that? Why is this like that? They're talking about it. They must have the answer. And before you know it, you've watched hundreds and thousands of hours of content pertaining to those issues, and you still don't have an answer. You have a dogma and a doctrine. If you want to understand human behavior, don't turn on the Manosphere channel. Pick up a psychology book, silly. You're looking in the wrong place for that answer. Why so and so like that? Don't become a devotee. Don't become a devoted follower of the Manosphere crowd because you want to find out, how can I have these relationships? How can I have a loyal relationship? How can I have a good relationship that lasts my lifetime? How can I satisfy this biological imperative? How can I do all these, this and that? This need that says that human beings like to be part of a crew, a crowd, a gang, a tribe, whatever you want to call it. In our society, it's been taught that the way you do that is you make your own. You go find a partner, then you make it. Well, a lot of people's tribes they made die on the hill of casual sex. I just don't understand. Like, you hear these people, they hook up, and then they're talking to their friends, and they tell their friends, I just don't feel safe around them. You took your clothes off with them. You are in the most vulnerable position a human being knows with that person. Shouldn't you have known that before you got naked and screwed? Shouldn't you have known that before you two were having sex with each other? It just seems like that's a prerequisite, right? Like, why have a preference at all? Just have sex with everything. At that point, it doesn't make sense why you would say this one's different, that one's different. Well, apparently, you're a slave to biology. Your biology says that one now. You don't need to know anything about them, and then you act. Then you act on it. Makes me wonder, that doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. It just seems stupid. It seems ignorant. So you just, if you're running around listening to a lot of content like that, thinking they're going to take you to the pinnacle of what it means to be human being, they're going to give you all your hopes and dreams. They're not going to give you anything but a bad time. You're going to develop a bunch of views that you didn't come to naturally. Don't you think you owe it to yourself to be able to think for yourself on the ideas that you come to naturally? Don't you think you owe that to yourself a little bit? They like to say something in those videos. They talk about a woman is going to hit the wall and then all her power will be gone. I don't understand how that would be. First of all, I don't say men hit the wall too, brother. Men slam right in that damn thing. Just everybody's looks eventually fade away. It's skin deep. Everybody eventually ages. To go, women hit the wall. Women hit the wall. What does that make you? They'll say, well, men get less physically attractive, but we get all the resources and we built up all this stuff, and then we're desirable. Bro, by the time you accomplish that, you're going to be 60, 70 years old. I know old men, a lot of them like to have sex, but most men's sex drive going to die. It's going to die long before they get in that. I got in this advantageous position to win the battle of the sexes. Congratulations. Next stop, coffin, because you're an old man. Congratulations. Next stop, 6 feet under. You didn't win nothing. You lost. If you really want to know about it, everybody playing that game lost. The men, the women, whoever's playing it lost. I don't know if you know this, but this body is temporal. You, however, you gonna live forever and ever. Don't run around being a slave to biology. That's like saying, I am my body. You are not your body. Don't you get it? Everybody has a thought. Everybody knows what a thought is, but I want to give you something to ponder. Okay? When a thought enters your mind, did you at any point make that thought? Did you at any point know what you were going to think? There's a lot of people trying to figure out the future, trying to read into the future, trying to see what happens next. They don't even know what's happening inside. How you going to know what's happening outside? You don't even know what's going on inside you. Inside is literally inside of you. So, when you get hungry, when you feel hungry, when you feel your stomach grumbling or whatever, ask yourself this. Did you make your stomach grumble consciously? Did you at any point decide, my stomach's going to grumble now? No. Now, some people would say, well, I control it because if I eat at a certain point, it changes, or I can choose just not to eat, and it'll go away maybe. That's a true statement, but it is not it is not what pertains here. What pertains here is that no one makes their stomach grumble. It happens. It happens. Something's making it happen. Just like you didn't go into the cells and the bacteria in your stomach and your intestines and digest what you ate for lunch. Every bit of this container is made up its own living cells that are full of the divine conscious intelligence to keep it alive. Your brain ain't even you. If your brain was you could control your subconsciously. Oh boy, if human beings could easily control their subconscious, you could just be whatever. You could alter your genetics. You could alter everything you thought about. Oh boy, you would put psychologists out of business in an instant, because all you'd have to know is that I'm depressed, and okay, I can just there. Now I'm not depressed anymore. You could just do that naturally. If you practice spirituality, you learn a bunch of techniques. You could probably do things like that after a good bit of practice. A good bit of practice to do such feats. And it could be done, yeah. You can move the energy through your nervous system when you feel that way. You go back, you'll be fit as a fiddle. So it is real to do that. It's realistic to do that, but it takes practice. My point is here is to tell you that you're not your body, and you're not your mind, and you're not any of the hardware inside your body. You're just hanging out here, consciousness, right? You're just experiencing things. And I mean, yeah, you can move your hand. You can do all those things. But most of the time, you're not doing any of that stuff yourself. You're just hanging out. So, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to encourage you and offer you some advice. Drop your expectations on other people. Listen to me. Don't look at me. Don't look at the manosphere people mumbling on the sideline. They need you as an audience so they can make lots of money. Listen to me. If whatever is supposed to come your way, it will come your way, regardless of you do anything. Look at me. I want to tell you a secret. I'm about as lazy as a house cat. Things still come my way. The most unpredicted out of the most strange and bizarre ways. What's meant for me comes to me. The less effort you use, the less resistance to what is meant for you and what is rightfully yours will come to you. There is no effort required. There is no work required. It says, with everything, God is easy. God knows every need you need. God knows when you need food. He knows when you need shelter. He knows when you need clothes. He knows when you need a friend. He knows when you need that wife you might be looking for, when you need that husband you might be looking for. He knows everything already. You don't have to do much of anything. You just have to be. And in being, you will find it all. So, all right. I hope everything goes your way.